flew here January of last year on New Year's Day. Our flight was January 1st of 2025, with the four kids, two dogs, a cat, and 12 suitcases, and that's it. We didn't flew. We have four children, two dogs, two cats, and a rabbit. We moved from Philadelphia area in United States back about a year and 2 months ago. Um, when we came to Greece, we had originally planned to live closer to Athens, but we fell in love with Evia, and we actually decided for the kids to go to school here, and they're learning the language, and they're basically really integrating very, very nicely. My wife and I are both veterinarians, so our particular permit that allows us to live in Greece does not allow us to actually work in Greece. So we fly back and forth to the United States and we do some work online. Right now, our jobs are basically consisting of telemedicine, teletriage. We basically help pet owners online. And because of the time difference between Greece and the United States, there's a big time difference. It's 6 to 7 hours between, depending on where. Um, it's overnight, and that's a lot of the times that a lot of pet owners need help. So we found it to be very useful. And we also fly back and we work online. We work in pet hospitals there. So we do a little bit. We have fallen in love with the country. We have fallen in love with everything here, and we also get to help pet owners back home. The biggest part I think that we miss is probably our families and friends back in the United States. But we have made a lot of friends here. We've been lucky in that we have found a community that has accepted us, and they've accepted our kids, and it's been a really amazing experience.
How did everything start? I mean, did you come to Greece for holidays and this is how you decided to move to Greece? Were you planning to move out of the US and move somewhere to Europe?
Always wanted to move abroad. We've always wanted to move. We've always wanted our children to learn other cultures and languages. We've always wanted them to grow up and like learn about the world. We wanted to move somewhere that was relatively safe, good healthcare, somewhere that was, easy to get into and out of if we had to. But honestly, we have visited Greece a few times. We really were impressed by the hospitality. We were really, really, you know, it's just amazing how friendly and how, the family first, the community first culture that like the family and culture is so important to Greeks that it's not like that in the United States. It's something that I think a lot of people take for granted because our in the United States, it's very work driven. It's very, work first. And it's not something that people like there, but that's just the culture. And we came here, we were so accepted, so welcomed. And every time we came, and we are like, this is the culture that we want our kids to grow up in, and so Greece was always the top of our list. We always wanted to move abroad. Greece was always the top. And we're like, okay, well, if it doesn't work out, then we had a few other places that we would look. But it did work out. And we're so happy that it did. The other reasons is, well, unfortunately, the United States, we moved here primarily, I think, for safety reasons, because the United States has become, our kids actually practice gun shooting drills in their schools. It's a very big problem over there, and I think it's a bigger problem than people here know because they just don't televise that. They don't report a lot of the gun violence in the United States. And they do that for a lot of reasons. But I mean, let's just say that like we didn't want our kids to grow up in that culture and we wanted them to experience the world. So, I think that was the driving factor for us to move to Greece, is we wanted to come where it was safer, it was beautiful, great coffee, great culture, and a great language.
How did the kids get adjusted? I mean, you said you moved to Greece last year, New Year's Day. The kids had to go to school, I guess. Was it easy for them to get adjusted? Did you face any difficulties? Did they start learning Greek straight away?
It's not easy at first. So my children are 14, down to, well, when we moved, it was 13 down to six. My oldest was in the, I guess you would say the second year of the gymnasio here, but basically the second year of middle school in the United States. He had a lot of friends, a lot of clubs that he belonged to. My youngest, of course, being six, she, I think, adapted the easiest. But my two oldest, they really struggled at first. They they understood the reasons why we wanted to move, but they didn't want to, of course, right? I think it took the longest. So we actually, when we first moved here, it was in the middle of the school year. So, and it took us a while to find a home here. Once we finally found a home and we settled on Evia, that was probably middle of February, moving into March. So we didn't have them join the schools right away. We had them finish their schoolwork from the second half of their year from the United States. They finished online. They did a lot of remote learning. They hated it. They absolutely hated it. We actually had them do Greek every day because we had planned for them to join the schools, but we did not. We couldn't join them right away. So they did learning apps, Duolingo, things like that. We would listen to the radio, TV, but it's just, they weren't going to the schools, they weren't hearing the Greek, they weren't like really adapting. And plus, where we live on Evia, it's a lot of summer homes. There's not a lot of families with other children that live near us. There's one family we've become really great friends with, but so they weren't around a lot of children that spoke Greek or spoke English or Greek. We weren't around a lot of families at all. So it was really difficult. My oldest son probably had the most challenge. He was very sad. He would talk to his friends in the United States often, but because of the time difference, they would either be asleep or it would be really late at night for us when they were awake. So that friendships kind of drifted. I mean, at his age, 13, 14 years old. So he was really sad at first. And he was actually the one that really wanted to go to school here. So once we settled, we started to really enjoy some of the families from Athens that live in this area over the summer started to come in for holidays, Easter. We started to make some friends in the area. And once I think the kids started to make friends here is when things changed. But I'm one of those people that I don't like. We came here to integrate into the Greek society. We didn't come here on holiday to live here just to enjoy the sun. We came here because we wanted to move here. We wanted the kids to learn language. So when we moved here, we started to purposely, you know, make friends, ask people to go to coffee, join some Facebook groups. My son, because he was very, very sad, he's very into a game called Dungeons and Dragons. I don't think I know there's a lot of people in Greece who play, but it's not a very, like in the United States, it's very, very popular. And it's, a bunch of kids get together and they play this like storyline role-playing game. So when we moved here and he was very sad, I reached out to some groups in Athens to see if there was anyone who played on Evia, and we were lucky enough to find a group. So I think the first thing that we actually were lucky enough to do is find a group of people who played this game for my son in English because it had to be in English. And in the United States, it's really odd, but we lived in a big neighborhood, but I could probably tell you the names of maybe five of the people in that neighborhood. It's just, there's not a really big community-driven culture there. So, like, people don't sit on their front steps drinking coffee. They don't go to the cafe. We don't have a cafe next to our houses. It's not like that. You have your houses over here and your businesses over here. So, people just don't really know their neighbors as well as you would think they should. Here, though, we made a point to meet everybody because we really wanted our kids to learn the culture and so we've been lucky enough to make a lot of friends. And I think that is probably one of the differences between our family and probably some other families that move from other countries is I see online a lot of people who are struggling to integrate into the Greek culture because I think Greeks are very, very hospitable, very friendly, very amazing. I know that it's very important to help, and we've been helped by a lot. But I think actually integrating into the community and becoming a part of it is hard, especially when you don't speak the language. So I have purposely tried to do that because I don't, I don't want us to move here and then just be closed in our house and never talk to anyone and never see anybody. And I started to do videos online because I was trying to I don't know, I was trying to meet people and show people our lives and kind of, introduce ourselves to the world. And I thought if I'm going to get my kids to actually learn about the Greek culture, then they needed to do it right. And
You and your wife, I guess you are learning Greek. Um, is it easy for you? You
Δύσκολα. Uh, Methano Elenica Kathemera. We have lessons. My wife and I have lessons once a week, and my kids have lessons twice a week. We have a private tutor that's fantastic. We found our tutor on a Facebook group, and we thought we would give them a try, and it's been amazing. So we started with the language learning apps. We started listening to the podcasts. We started listening to the radio. It's such a difficult language that you can hear it and you can try to soak it up, but it doesn't really. You need to actually have some direction. And so we started doing lessons, and we've been lucky in that our children who, when they're in the school, their teachers are also helping them, even though that's not, you know, they have a lot of other things that those teachers need to be doing, but they've been really helpful. But it's hard. I'll tell you, the hardest thing about the Greek language is I am very self-conscious. I'm very nervous to use it. Um, I know what I want to say, but then I have a hard time saying it because when you're in a conversation with somebody, I feel like I'm talking like a 3-year-old. I feel like I'm a 3-year-old child, and I nobody wants to have a conversation with a 3-year-old, you know? So I go into a coffee shop or go into a store and I'm asking for something, and it's like I feel like I don't know, but it's hard. The past tense and the future tense are the hardest for me. So I could say I am eating, I am running, I am drinking, but I went, I was some like that.
I guess you get this question a lot. Why did you move to Greece when lots of people, lots of Greeks want to move out? Do you give any advice to these people?
It's a very tough question because the first thing that goes through my mind is that the grass is not always greener. I don't know if they have that saying in Greece, but you know, the most common reason for people to want to move out of Greece is because of the economy, the job market. They're looking for a better paying job. And the United States is, well, it's known for having higher paying, you know, employment, higher paying jobs. And it does. There's no question. But what you don't see on the news is how much of that you're paying for things like health insurance. Um, you know, it's very similar, if not more. So how much income that people make in other countries like Greece or like Italy or Spain versus how much they pay in taxes in for your phone, for your TV, for your car. The United States, it's very similar. So yeah, you make a lot more money in the United States, but then you're paying a lot more for the same things that you're using. Um, the taxes are a little bit lower in the United States, but your health insurance is so much more. So it's all very similar. A lot of the Greeks and a lot of the, just other friends of mine in the United States, like they're in the same situation. So, yeah, they make more money, but they also pay more. The lifestyle, though, is not as good. The food is not as healthy. You don't have the sun, you don't have the coffee, you don't have the sea. You don't have the same community where you go out and you drink coffee with your friends. It's not like that. I would say one of the benefits to moving out of Greece is the even though as far as the amount of money you make and how much you pay is very similar, um, well, there's more job opportunities, right? So if you're struggling to find a job in another country, yeah, moving somewhere that has a lot more job opportunities does make sense, but they're not happier. And that is the key thing that I tell my friends that have like talked about moving. It's like, look, you're gonna be able to find a job probably very easily. The job employment over there is there's a lot of opportunity, but you're not going to be making a lot more money. It's, it's going to be, what you make versus what you pay, but it's the happiness. It's your quality of life. We moved here for the quality of life and for our kids to learn the culture and language. We didn't move here, and people have actually said to me, why would you do that to your children? Why would you move somewhere with less job opportunities? Like, look, when we will cross that bridge when we have to. Right now, we moved here for them to learn the language, learn the culture, and to become more worldly, as the best I could say it. We want them to not just be in a closed knit, like, the United States community. We want them to actually like broaden their minds, broaden their education. And there's a lot of opportunities online on the internet, and there is benefit to being a United States citizen and being able to like they could go to college here or there. They could get a job here or there. So I mean, we do have that benefit, I guess, that the opportunity is there. But we moved here for the quality of life. And yeah, I have employment online. I think the other thing that a lot of people ask me or at least say to me is that, well, I make a United States income in Greece, but I don't because I don't have the same job that I used to, right? Like our employment is our job is basically an ad like a per diem. Like we basically work when we're needed. And but so we moved here with less salary, but we have a much richer quality of life. We have a much happier. We smile every day. Whereas it's a
Do
very
you have any plans regarding your career in Greece?
um I being a veterinarian, my wife and I both being veterinarians, we love to help pets and we always help our neighbors, our friends, but we don't have licenses here. And well, first off, to get a license in Greece, I needed to be able to speak Greek. So siga siga. But now the second part of that is our particular residency permit that allows us to live in Greece. It does not allow us to actually work in Greece. There's a very specific clause that we have no market access. We have to provide our income from other sources. That can change. There are ways to change that, and I think in the future, uh, we probably will do that. And we're hoping to live here forever. We're hoping to live here as long as we can, as long as Greece will have us. So.